Hello, everybody. How are we all doing? Welcome to whatever the heck this is gonna be. So this is the first official Niji Writers collab, actually.
It is, yeah. This is the first time we've just been on one another's channels, just hanging out, just the two of us.
We got onto the topic of creepypastas, and then it sort of spiraled into tier lists, and here we are.
Definitely gonna make some enemies. That's okay. Everybody has their own preferences, and ours are just better than yours.
Me and Folger just sort of went through and made like a list of 10 creepypastas off the top of our heads. Some of these are gems, others... Anyway. So, what's your history with creepypasta? How did you get introduced to this stuff?
I think the first one I found that I knew as a creepypasta was Slender Man. I was so happy like when I first found the ones that were like linked to like big media.
There's even a famous Vocaloid song about that.
No way! I didn't even know that.
Yeah, that's my look at me inserting Vocaloid into everything again. I don't know when I first encountered the term creepypasta. I think the officially first one that I ran into was... I feel like I might have just heard it for the first time in a sort of like top 10 video about scary internet phenomena. People get so creative with this stuff in terms of not only the writing style, but also the way that they present things. Sometimes...
And because it is a community where they don't like worry about copyrights or about getting their names out there, somebody can start a story that a lot of people just think is, oh, that's really creepy.
I was actually gonna ask you if you wanted to just like yeet one in there, and like I'll just like bring it out into like the pretty neat category.
Oh yes, we should probably try a mid one that neither one of us particularly hate or love.
Okay. Let's start with this one in that case. Username 666. How familiar are you with it?
This one, I don't remember. Like, maybe if you describe it, I'll remember it.
Okay, so this is something that goes back really, really far. It is a video that is made by a Japanese artist way, way back in the day, where somebody would type into the URL, like youtube.com/user/666. and press enter, and obviously nothing happens because that doesn't exist, but they keep refreshing, and the more they keep clicking around, the page just gets distorted, just like red, like this page starts like tearing itself apart, PC starts freezing up, and you're not really sure what happens, and eventually everything just crashes and the video ends. It's really, really well made, especially for the time that it came out.
That sounds really cool. I think I've heard of things like that. I think I heard this while I was younger. I just never knew what it was.
There's not really much in terms of writing or lore when it comes to this, but I think that the video for the time that it came out is like well done enough where I feel bad putting it into mid.
I think that one can definitely go for pretty neat rather than just mid.
Okay, let's get this one in here. Candle Cove.
This is one of my favorites.
Oh my gosh.
Oh no! Laughing stock. That's one whale of a storm. We better run and hide.
It was just found on the internet, a bunch of people talking about the same thing at the same time. It was done so smartly. I loved it.
When I was reading it, what I really loved, the attention to detail from the author, was the different typing styles, because that's something I noticed so much with people. Everybody has a distinctive way of typing, and all the different forum posters have a different style of typing.
I love that because that's so hard, like when you are writing, to find like character voice rather than your own voice. Candle Cove, you're right, does such a good job of that. It feels like a bunch of different people all remembering the same thing. It feels so realistic.
Yeah.
So Candle Cove, it starts off as a bunch of forum posts. Basically, one person comes up with the question, does anybody remember this thing? I forget its name. There was a show when I was a kid. It involved puppets. They were on a giant pirate ship. The pirate ship had a mouth, and one by one, like, users all chime in and like, oh yeah, I remember the main character was this one. And for some reason, when I talked to my mom about it, she said I was just staring at a static screen.
So many people remember this thing. Everybody remembers these different episodes. And then at the very end, it's just like, my mom talked to me about this, and she always said that I had such a vivid imagination because I just stared at static for 30 minutes.
Yeah, I love that.
But everybody remembered it. So it's kind of like, With the creative way of the writing, that's sort of like capitalizing on the creepy puppet thing. What are we feeling? Are we feeling light stay on or nightmare fuel?
Like, I would say light stays on just for sure.
So the SCP Foundation.
Really cool idea.
Yeah, I love the whole thing that there's this secret organization just keeping a bunch of these paranormal entities in check, containing them or doing research on them.
Yeah, they're like a more adult, more fucked up version of the Men in Black.
Yeah, really. What was your first
that.
exposure to the SCP Foundation?
I do not remember any of their names or numbers, but the one that I really like is the one that looks like a giant and just stands in a corner of a room. Like, I remember I used to watch like a lot of people play the SCP games as well.
Oh, shit! Okay, I'm gone. I'm just gonna stare at you. Oh, God! Okay, now I can save. Okay, rah!
But yeah, there's so many good stories under SCP, and the whole thing being like a pretty neat idea. So I think the call here.
I think, yeah, pretty neat because it's so balanced.
Let's get a recent one in here. The one that everybody has been seeing lately. The Backrooms.
Hey.
I might have a spicy opinion on this one. Do you want to go ahead first? Do you want to give your 2 cents on the Backrooms?
I love the Backrooms where it was just finding yourself in a strange location, no clipping through reality. The lights having that little zzz. It's just so uncomfortable in just a subtle way. And then just being stuck in this location forever, not being sure if you could ever get out of it.
I think the whole idea of the Backrooms is terrifying. It's great.
Yeah,
However,
sure.
The Backrooms lore have sort of just gone off the rails, introducing the whole thing with people finding consistent ways to get into it, researchers setting up base there, monsters walking around there.
Monsters kind of diminish what the Backrooms was.
I feel like the original Backrooms, like just the whole endless corridors, that would easily be in Light Stay On, but as it is right now, I feel like that's more closer to mid. Let's get something we can absolutely agree on. Sonic.exe.
Hey, yo.
Oh my god, this story was everywhere many years back. Oh my god, when this came out and I heard that there was a video game, this is not great. This is really not great. My old school video game is haunted. Stop the presses.
Or it was like the people coming of age in like 2010s and 2020s were like, wait a minute, what if that was more creepy?
Cliches, the writing, and the whole hyper-realistic graphic. There's so many stories that bring up the hyper-realistic graphics. We have that right now. Hyper-realistic Sonic. We've seen artistic renderings of that, and it just looks kind of eh.
You know, if Pokemon were hyper-realistic, they'd be absolutely terrifying. If the Simpsons characters actually look like that in real life, look how disgusting they would be. It's a cartoon. The storyline is so simple. It's just like, oh, play this game. Oh, I'm gonna kill one of your favorite beloved characters. Now I'm gonna kill one of the other ones. You can't escape me. It was like,
Even the things that happen in, like the laughing that they describe, it's Kefka's laugh from Final Fantasy. The blood that is being shown in later stages, it's from Mortal Kombat. Like, I know where these things are from, and that sort of takes me out of it. Then there's the jump scare, and oh my god, the I am a god message. Just that is oof.
it's too overdone. It's too overdramatic. They've tried too hard to make it edgy. That was literally baby's first creepypasta where they're like,
okay, let's get another one of yours onto here that I don't know nothing about. This was one of the ones I wasn't able to check in on. Licking.
This one is very simple. You can literally read this in like 2 minutes. And I'm pretty sure when I describe it, you'll remember it because it's something that just appears everywhere. Girl is going to bed. She lays down. She has her hand like drooping over the side of the bed. and her dog keeps licking her hand from under the bed. And then she notices that her dog is outside the room.
Oh.
She like is terrified. She like hides in one corner of the bed and like can hear something under the bed but doesn't dare to move. Eventually falls back to sleep, and when she wakes up in the morning and the light is on, she looks at her wall. It says, "Humans can lick too." I love that. I love that so much. And it's so short. It doesn't like leave any time to mess around with you. It's just literally a girl goes to bed, that shit happens. You read it, it's honestly like 8 to 10 paragraphs. It's so short. It's so well done though. It just plays on a very basic human fear, especially when you're growing up. Like, have you ever seen that YouTube video? Because it reminds me of this, like a very simple basic human fear, where a woman is in bed with her husband and like says, "Oh, you feel very cold," and then gets a phone call from her husband.
Jesus.
I think you can leave that one in pretty neat. It's so short, it's so simple. It's just I like how simple it is, how quick it is. It doesn't try to like expand it too much. It doesn't try to explain anything. It's just like, wouldn't this be fucking freaky?
Bring in another classic, I think here. The Russian sleep experiment.
Oh, one of the best ones ever.
One of the greats.
It does, yeah. Like, it starts off so simplistic with people just being tired and ready to go for the experiment, and then going into the full-on torture, and then the places it goes. It blew my mind.
Yeah. When you think about the legacy and like how iconic it is, I feel bad putting it in anything other than Nightmare Fuel. Let's bring one here that is a little bit of an odd pick that I wanted to bring on here. Polybius. There are people all over the States that for some reason insist that they have seen this thing in arcades. Where's Herobrine? We have standards.
Oh, shit.
And apparently people who played it would brainwashing or computer like recruitment program for the government. I don't really know. It's just the fact that there are many people and all over the United States that insist they have seen this thing, like not even joking, and it just does not exist.
That's what I love about this, because this is like a real life version of Candle Cove.
Maybe.
Or is it just like legitimately like they're just 100% lying and trying to add to the legend? People don't want attention on the internet, do they, Ike?
No. I don't even know where, because if it never existed, where did it come from?
Oh, that's what I'm wondering. I think it's just like a misremembered thing for sure.
As a thing itself, like what people has theorized that it actually is pretty mid when it comes to the whole like, oh, like brainwashing, like mind control. But the whole thing about it actually just people thinking that like, no, I have seen this. I'm not joking.
I think, yeah, I don't want to put it anywhere below pretty neat.
Yeah, so I would put it into mid, but I will still think that the fact that it just seemingly materialized out of thin air is pretty freaky. You can introduce this one to me. This one, I only know a movie called The Strangers. Is it based on the same thing?
No, completely different. The Strangers is one of my favorite things. So the basic idea of The Strangers, it's definitely a slow burn because it's a very long creepypasta. It starts with a guy who has just started traveling to work on public transit, and because he's so bored, he starts to look around at the different people and see what each kind of person does. Oh, these kinds of people just always listen to their music. These people like genuinely fall asleep. And then you have the fact that he has people that he calls the strangers. He doesn't quite understand what they do because they look too normal. They just sit there perfectly straight. They look just too perfect, too unnatural in a human body. And it gets to the point where he finally follows one and discovers that every day this person just rides backwards and forwards from end to end without ever getting off, without ever changing stop or station. Just on the same train the entire time, backwards
like an
and forwards.
NPC.
Yeah. At the same time, he's originally like too scared to follow them the whole day because he's got other things to do. And it gets to the point where literally, end of the line, they go back into the terminal. Things start to get weird. Like he goes over and finally confronts the guy and is like, "Yo, who are you?" And the dude just says like, "I'm sorry to have done this to you." And when he tries to follow him out, he finds that he's in a completely different world where nobody is human anymore. I won't spoil like how far it goes, but that's only like halfway through. Whereas yeah, things like this that are actually like truly original and kind of fucked up.
Yeah, that sounds like Nightmare Fuel, but I kind of like that right now when they're right next to each other, licking the strangers.
Just don't do it.
Okay, another big one. The Slender Man.
Let's go.
I adore the original concept for the Slender Man, like the paranormal photoshops from the Something Awful forums during the Photoshop competition. Scarlet! Not now!
Oh my god, Scarlet, don't even start again. You've got enough art.
Oh my god. Getting back on track.
Slender Man!
There was the whole Marble Hornets thing, and I think that Marble Hornets still to this day holds up surprisingly well.
You told me about like Marble Hornets, and I was like, oh, I haven't seen that. I need to check that out before the stream. And then I started watching it, and I was like, oh, I watched it. I was like, oh, I remember this found footage. It's like, oh, this was incredible.
I remember back in school, there were people that would just like show up and be like, dude, there's a new entry. Everybody gather around the laptop.
Oh man, that was the perfect time for that as well. Like the internet was just blowing up.
I have not seen the actual movie itself. I looked at
Terrible, it's horrible.
Hello? Since why make it now? Like, missed the hype train, did you?
They missed the hype train, and they also hit like the creepy part where suddenly there were. Because the Slender Man game, it felt like every Let's Player at the time played it. If you want to make a simple creepy horror game, just walk around a maze while trying to find X amount of objects while a creepy monster chases you.
โอเควันนี้เราจะมาตามหาไอ้ตีนะครับไอ้ตีตัวสูงตัวขาวครับใส่สูทครับไอ้ตีอะครับโอ้ไม่กลัวหรอกครับเฮ้ยนี่มันแขนไอ้ตีนี่ว่าอุ้ยคุณผู้ชมครับตอนนี้พี่ตีเราโดนรูปปั้นแดกไปแล้วครับ เราจะทำนี่ครับตีออกมาไอ้ตีกูจะช่วยมึงออกมานะเนี่ยอีห่านเอ้ย
Where do you think Slendy belongs? A bit higher up in pretty neat.
I'd like to stay on because of the great things like you said, Marble Hornets. I haven't seen the other video series. Even the game, people learned about Slenderman because there were just a bunch of the most popular Let's Players in the world playing it.
ไม่ได้เจอกันนานหน้าตากวนตีนขึ้นนะเราอะโอ้โหคนลุกเลยครับปวดขี้เนี่ย
All of that like built up such a good community. The basic storyline was so good, and now you can look through a NIJISANJI V2 with loot art.
Stop! Let's have ourselves a little bit of a laugh. My name is Jeff. Oh my god, Jeff the Killer.
I love how you spoiled exactly where it's going and what you feel about it before we've even started.
I will give it this. The image attached to the story is genuinely creepy. When I was just chilling with a friend, I think we were sitting like next to each other on a couch or something, playing video games on each other's laptops, and I was scrolling through something, and I was looking at a website. There was like a link, and then my other friend replied to it and said like, "Oh, that it's so kawaii," and like very kind of sarcastically. And I click on the link because there was just a social media post. I was like, I wonder what they sent. But the actual story itself, oh my god.
Oh, this is the beginning of the true Niji Riders collab.
Such a cliche, lame story with like nothing that makes sense for Jeff to snap the way that they do. It feels like a power fantasy more than a self-insert power fantasy. Also, when you think about something scary, like the Backrooms has sort of like an ominous sound to it. Polybius, you wonder what that is. Like the Slender Man sounds like an urban legend that could be like, real. The Strangers, that's interesting. What are the Strangers? What is your terrifying creature? Oh, Jeff.
My name is Jeff.
My name is Jeff. Like, come on.
You're right, though. The image was genuinely creepy. Like, you opened that up and you just saw the big wide eyes. Kind of reminded me of Smile Dog.
Yeah, Smile Dog. I kind of like it. It's a relatively creepy picture. I don't like the evolved form of it. I feel like it gets a little bit ridiculous at that point.
That's the thing. Sometimes pictures are just all you need. Momo? If Momo has a story, I don't know the story.
Yeah, I don't know it either.
The funniest thing to me about Jeff the Killer was we were talking about it feeling like a power fantasy. I'm seeing a lot of people saying, oh, I loved that shit when I was a teenager. And it's like, yeah, it's an edgy, like, power fantasy, revenge fantasy. And then it became Tumblr hot guy.
Oh my god, the Tumblr sexy man.
You had the e-boy cosplays.
Oh, the Tumblr sexy man.
But yeah, I think dropping Jeff into its own location is fucking hilarious to me.
If I'm gonna be honest,
Oh my god.
Sonic.exe is my favorite Jeff the Killer story.
Oh yeah.
This thing
would.
is so good. It has no
so
business
good.
being as good as it is.
Even though there were other video game creepypastas before it, I still feel like this is one inspired an entire generation because of how good it was, how unsettling it was, how well written it was. The freaking creepy version of the Song of Healing is so damning
Yeah,
as it
the
is.
Song of Healing backwards is genuinely so unsettling. And then there's just like the ever-present, which was in the original too. Just, you've met with a terrible fate, haven't you? It's so good. I understand why that game inspired a ghost story, because man, did it ever come together beautifully. That's going in. I feel like Nightmare Fuel is well earned.
Nightmare
for
Fuel
Ben Brown.
100%. Yes. This is how you write a power fantasy self-insert song.
Okay, going back to the monster effing, licking Siren Head. I knew of Siren Head because of the artist. I did not know that there was story and lore.
I don't know the story or lore.
Right? Vulgar!
I'm sorry. I know Siren Head by the silly video games and how creepy he is. You hear the creepy siren sound. You see this thing that looks like a normal siren until you get too close, and then it ambushes you and runs at you. It has a creepy ass body.
They used like the kind of siren with it.
Siren Head licking.
Oh yeah, I might want to put it into there just so that we stop licking things.
We're about to lick Lavender Town.
Yeah, we're gonna be licking Lavender Town. The Lavender Town syndrome. This is one of my favorites.
Like, you get the basic story, but then you also have the music.
Everything is so hunky-dory up until you get to Lavender Town. It's like, by the way, your cute little critters, they can die.
And this is the basic town that is essentially just a graveyard for all of them.
You want to see the corpse of a deceased Marowak? Here you go. A lot of people bring out one Easter egg in the song. It's that there's speaking in reverse at the end, but there's sort of beats inserted into the music that sort of sound like... And if you cut all those out and stitch them together, bring it into a spectrogram, it actually paints a picture. Chat, if you're curious, you can go detective working. This is just find the song and bring it into a spectrogram and you'll see what I mean.
This is what I love. Like, we started talking about Lavender Town.
Now we went
and it turned into its own detective level of creepypasta ARG.
Lavender Town. The fact that it was one of my first, they freaked me out. I think it belongs in Light Stay On. What do you think?
Honestly,
Really?
happy with Nightmare Fuel or Light Stay On. Yeah, especially having Lavender Town and Ben Drowned right next to each other. They deserve to be. Those people must have worked on that for months, not weeks, just to release one project. So good for them. They deserve that.
Yeah, my favorite thing is still that Sonic.exe isn't Jeff the Killer.
I fucking love that. Just be like, yeah, I am God.
Yeah, I am God.
I am stronger than God. God damn it.